So we're going to talk about the pause practice for twos, which is a 4-step practice. The first step is awareness. So since your attention goes to other people's needs, the awareness you are going to be working with today is the attention on other people. And the way it shows up might be in conversation, on Facebook, but start to notice how your conversations focus on, say, your kids, people at work, your boss, people you want to support, people who you don't like in relationships. Since you guys are kind of the relationship junkies of the Enneagram, relationship is huge for you. So it's really talking about yourself, and once you start noticing it, you'll start seeing it everywhere, and how you post on Facebook and emails you send. You might even want to go back towards your emails and how many of those emails use I. Go back to your Facebook posts. How many of them are posting about you, about yourself, about something that matters to you, something you care about? And then you might start to notice some anxiety if you start talking about yourself, of what's happening for you, particularly if it's something that's sad. This is the heart types, the 2s, the 3s, and the 4s, are sometimes called the sadness triad. And it's just a sadness, kind of a lost connection to yourself, that when you come home to yourself, you start to realize that there is not a relationship. So what we're trying to do is not cut you off from relationship, because that's what you're so good at. Rather, it's bringing it into proper proportion, where you start to include yourself and your own needs in the mix. So when you start noticing this, and maybe even noticing a little constriction if you talk about yourself, just take a pause, breathe, and attune to your natural breath. So that might just be noticing just the feeling of inhaling and exhaling. And notice if you're breathing into your chest, drop it more deeply. And just pay attention to any emotions in the given moment, whatever they might be. What are you feeling? Are you feeling some anger? Are you feeling some irritation? And stay with it. And you might even want to do it now with me. Just drop in, feel, breathe, and notice what happens. So for you, because you're one of the positive types, you may want to gloss over or skip over those unpleasant feelings. Stay with those too. Be sure not to underestimate them, and you might notice yourself wanting to judge them. So just pay attention to all of this. It's all just information. And notice where feelings house themselves in your body, and just simply welcome them. And that's the next step, is accept. So awareness, pause, accept. And it's like, how do I feel now? And accept whatever feelings come online. What do I need in this conversation? And the first answer might be no. It's not like you have a lot of for a 2 just beginning to work on themselves, you may not have a lot of experience with knowing your own needs. And so you might almost blank out. And so notice that. So then the action to take, that's just a real small shift, is when you communicate, use words like I. Say something about mine. Say something about talk about a feeling that you might be having that is not in context of relationship with somebody else. Or even if it is, be sure to use it, again, be in proper proportion of what matters to me. Then state your own needs directly. State what you want directly. And notice if guilt comes online, if you're talking about what you want that is not in service of somebody else. And you don't need to over-explain, because you 2s tend to have a tendency to over-explain. And you can cultivate this by just spending some time alone each day. Maybe start with 5 minutes. One 2 I know told me she used to put her cat on her lap, and that kind of kept her in relationship. And then, little by little, increase the time you spend thinking about your own feelings. Notice if your attention goes to other people, come back home. And during that time, each time you notice the desire, say, to send an email, to text to somebody, to start thinking about what you could do for somebody else, gently insert the pause and come back to yourself with kindness.